So a couple of things that I think get in the way of lawyers doing this. Number one, a focus on vanity metrics. So for me, this is the classic case is one of the big box marketing companies out there, and I won't name names, but it rhymes with Schmeinlaw. They're going to give you a report typically, but this is common with all sorts of other marketing agencies. They're going to give you a report, and it is largely going to be self-serving. They are going to put the things in there that look good, and I don't think a lot of the time it's like directly manipulative, or like they're trying to necessarily pull one over on you. But they're gonna, the easier things to track are things like likes, followers, page views, traffic, even top-end leads, right? And that's better. Having leads is better, but ultimately it doesn't get you where you want to go. And so these kind of seduce you into thinking that your performance is better than it might be, and you kind of get into this situation where you're like, am I crazy because I get this report every month that says I'm doing amazing, but the reality is I'm still getting the same 5 cases a month that I got before I hired this marketing company. So that really is what fractures the relationship, in my opinion, with law firms and marketing companies. So that's a big one. I would also say creating the quote perfect system, and I see owners getting into this occasionally, and what they're trying to do is have perfect attribution for every single lead that comes in. And in my experience, that's basically impossible. So we have what I would consider a best-in-class approach, and we're using what converts. We have data down to every single lead, and so for me that is really, really valuable, where we can tell the source and the medium for every single lead. We know if it's coming from ads, is it PPC, is it LSA, so on and so on. That being said, there are limitations to this software or CallRail, because not really worth getting into in this specific episode, but they run on cookies, and they are not precise. And so factors like, are you using first click attribution or last click attribution? How good is that software? Even if the software is good and we feel like our choice is the best choice in the market, like the most accurate, we still find examples that are demonstrably incorrect, where someone has come onto the website, they found us through Google or something like that, and yet it's showing that the source was from somewhere else. So lawyers can get into this trap of trying to drill down and get details on every single lead, and so they end up going on like a goose chase trying to find out all of it. And so my biggest piece of advice here to think about is, you want to think about solving for as much as you can, but understanding that it's not going to be perfect, right? So you want to get this data and use it to guide your efforts, but at the end of the day, don't worry about it being 100% perfect, because literally you cannot get it there. It's just not possible in my mind. The other piece of this that I would steer clear of is overanalysis of some of the measurement metrics. I believe there is a limit to the usefulness of the amount of to the data that you're going to get. Now, it gets more valuable as your lead volume goes up, but I often see people who are getting like 50 leads a month, or 25 or something like that, and they're spending hours each month trying to dissect like why we got 10 leads from SEO one month and then 12 leads the next month, And for me, that's like basically overkill. That's more something that would be done or should be done by the marketing agency and not so much the attorney, because numbers like that, there's just really like it's not enough to be statistically significant. And so sometimes we have these conversations where it's like, well, our leads went from 10 to 13 to 12 to 15. What's the reason for that fluctuation? And I want to know why it went up and down each month. And like the answer is that's just within the level of statistical significance. So there really just may not be like a lot of reasoning for it. And so it's for me a fool's errand to try and go lead a ton of analysis. Now, as you get more of those leads, then it becomes more and more important because you can actually see trends, right? And if we zoom out, the bigger picture for all of this is like, you want to make good decisions with your money, with your investment, and point your marketing in the right direction. You don't need to know the nuance in between small little ups and downs like that. You basically want to see the bigger trends. That's where you're going to get the most value and most value on your time and most value on your money. And then the last big mistake I see here is that the data never gets connected to the business outcomes. And so that's basically an extension of what I just said, which is that if you spend all your time kind of nitpicking like, those minutia parts of it, you are never going to then connect that data to your overall business data, right? And so I've had this experience where we spend so much time going through and trying to pinpoint where the ROI is that by the time we get to the end of it and we actually have our conclusions where one channel is like significantly outperforming the other, it's like that data never gets acted on. And we can see that one channel is producing more clients at a lower cost per acquisition, and yet that never gets acted on because it's like everybody's burnt out from going through this whole exercise of trying to attribute where those folks came from.